ॐ कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. We are very blessed indeed to study the Bhagavad Gita in certain detail. Gita Sugita Kartavya Himanyaihi Shastra Vistaraihi Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padma Vinisrata. Goes a shloka. Make Gita Sugita. Let it be sung more and more with more involvement, more love, more feeling, more devotion. Where is the need for any other scripture, says that shloka. Anyaihi Shastra Vistaraihi Him. Why do you say that? This Gita has come from the lotus face, lotus mouth of Padmanabha himself. Padmanabhasya Mukha Padma Vinisrata. And we are presently studying Vibhuti Yoga. Sri Krishna's, Mahavishnu's glories. Vibhuti Vaibhava, splendor, magnificence. In this 220th class on Bhagavad Gita, we will now pick up from verse number 23. For the last class, we went up to 22 and in fact read the 23rd, or for that matter 23rd we saw the meanings. Rudranam Shankaraschasmi was 23rd. Rudras, Ekadasha Rudras, don't have the name Shankara among them. Therefore, it is said that of the 11 Rudras, not one among them, but there is the Adhipati. Adhipati, the master, the big boss. So, that is Shankara. That could be one of the Trinity also, who directly controls or directly guides the 11 Rudras. So, Rudranam Shankarascha, we saw the shloka, Vittesho Yaksharakshasam, of categories like Yakshas and Rakshasas, etc. I am Kubera, says Sri Krishna. Among Rakshasas, again, there are subcategories, commentators say. For example, Manibhadra and others are Yakshas, Heti and others are Rakshasas. So you and I are not so familiar with all these categories. Those who are more into Puranas, Ashtadasha Puranani. We have Bhagavata Puranam, most well known, but there are other Puranas, Devi Puranas, and Puranas who glorify Shiva, Vishnu Purana, and so on. And these Puranas with so many stories, all interlinked, are a very good engagement for the mind. Those of us who find we are not yet ready for the Vedanta should study or listen to some Puranas. Don't brush them aside as some cock and bull stories. Even if there is some exaggeration, some additions, elaborations which are liberty taken by the authors of the Puranas. Essentially, Puranas bless us with a certain engagement, healthy engagement in God-related topics. So we saw this verse, Vittesho Yaksharakshasam, and it was said, Vasunam Pavakaschasmi, I am Pavaka, I am fire. I read out the names of the Vasus. Who are the 8 Vasus? He said, there are long lists in the Tippanis. Yeah. I had said this last class, Dhara and Dhruva, Soma and Savitra, Anila and Anala, Pratyusha and Prabhasa. Anala is a synonym of Pavaka. So Vasunam Pavakaschasmi. In other words, everywhere, in all categories, if we pay special attention to one of the members who is preeminent, who is a cut above all, we see God in him. Meruhu Shikharinamaham. Among peaks, I am the Meru mountain. Now we move on to 24th verse, which we had read. Let me read it once more. Purodhasancha mukyam mam vidhi partha brahaspatim senaninam aham skandaha sarasamasmi sagaraha. 4 vibhutis, rather three vibhutis in this shloka. Purodasam. In a lot of other Indian languages, the priest is called Purohita. But while that word also is acceptable, the basic word is Purodhas. Purodhaha is the singular form. So Purodhas, Purodhaha, Purodhasau, Purodhasaha. It goes like that. I'm referring to singular, dual, and number. Singular, dual, and plural number. So Purodhasam, of so many priests in the 3 worlds, in Swarga, in Bhumi, and in Patala, I am the priest who does all religious rituals for no less than King of Devas, Indra. Therefore, I am Brahaspati. As all of you know, Devas have their priest, Brahaspati, and his Devaguru, and Asuras have another very eminent priest, Shukracharya. There are so many stories of these priests whose glories also are great, and sometimes they do a little mischief also. They have some envy. Therefore, it is said, even if you go and live in heaven for thousands of years, it's not liberation. Number one, all that happy times come to an end. Number two, more importantly, amidst all that prosperity, amidst all those pleasures and comforts and good times, there are psychological issues. Devatas also are not free from envy, from comparison, from competition, from stress, and so on. So, in essence, as sometimes they say, to go to heaven is something somewhat comparable to live in very developed countries where facilities are very good, or you don't have to go to developed countries these days. Right, in a country like India, which is generally looked at as poor and all that, there are lots of pockets of prosperity. Anyway, talking of India and other countries. Yesterday, for the first time, I came across a quote. A certain spiritual teacher based in America says to a large audience, "For finding peace of mind," she says, "you don't have to go to India." I said, "Wow, what a nice statement." Because for some time, maybe for a century or more, there has been a certain notion, if not in all, in a good number of Westerners, that for finding true spirituality, peace, to go to samadhi, transcendental state, you got to go to Himalayas, you got to go to some gurus in India. So this lady says to her disciples, for finding peace, don't have to go to India. I felt, good, wow. See, our India has this image. India is where you find peace. And the very developed West is where you find amenities, higher standard of living, and so on. Anyway, coming back to the essential philosophy, for neither peace nor comforts and amenities, any particular country, is no country guarantees that. Everywhere there are places of wonderful living standards, maybe small pockets. And there are any country, there are pockets and there are associations. There are beautiful places where people, good people, satsanga is available. Those of you in California know, not far from the San Francisco Bay Area, in the city called Santa Cruz. I used to go there in good old days. Maybe in the next trip I should make a quick visit. Uh, some of you in the West may know that I am coming to the West America in the end of April. Maybe I should plan a visit to Santa Cruz, the little city by the Pacific Ocean. And over there, unlike what is generally imagined about the West, material prosperity, in Santa Cruz City, an hour drive from San Jose, there is a ashram called Sat, S-A-T, Sat. And what a nice acronym. SAT, Sat also stands for Society for Abidance in Truth. And that is where Ramana Maharshi's huge picture and I guess statue also are placed. And they practice self-inquiry over there. Ocean Street, Santa Cruz. Anyway, let me not go far. We have the expression Purodasam Brahaspati. There I went on to say, even in among devatas, even among the chief priest, head priests of devatas, there are psychological burdens, though otherwise they are way above us, the mortals. I am Brahaspati among all the priests in the three worlds. And two more in the shloka. Senaninam aham skandaha. Skanda is Kartikeya. Skanda is Subramanya, the son of Shiva and Parvati, the younger brother of Ganapati. Skanda Purvaja is a name of Ganesha, or Purvaja means born before, elder brother. And therefore, Skanda himself is Ganesha Anujaha. Senaninam, as most of you know, if not all, Kartikeya was born for the purpose of finishing off a demon, an asura called Tarakasura. And that Tarakasura had a certain boon that he could be killed only by son of Shiva. And he had secured that boon imagining that Shiva is always into tapas, where will he have a son? And he asked, I guess, Lord Brahma, give me a boon that I cannot be killed by anybody other than Shiva's son, presuming that Shiva would not go for a son. Then the Devatas went in a special delegation requesting Lord Shiva, and that's how Shiva gets a son. Therefore, Lord Subramanya, Kartikeya, is also referred to as Tarakari. Interestingly, for some of us who are devoted to Sri Ramana Maharshi, it is believed that Ramana Maharshi was an Amsha avatar, in part an incarnation of Subramanya. And in another setting, those of us who have been studying the Upanishads and have also taken a look at the seventh chapter of Chandogya Upanishad, where the Guru is Sanat Kumara. At the end of the chapter, in the Upanishad mantras themselves, it is said about Sanat Kumara that he is no other than Skanda. Skanda iti achakshate. The expression comes in the Upanishad mantra itself. Therefore, Lord Subramanya appears in many forms, and as we know, he is especially regarded a lot in Tamil Nadu, calling Subramanya Muruga. Tamilians in very large numbers are devoted to Skanda, and no wonder the Amsha avatar of Subramanya took place in Tamil Nadu, in the village called Tiruchuli. Was born Venkatraman, who later became Ramana Maharshi. Senaninam. Therefore, a certain major notable aspect of Lord Kartikeya is within a few years of his birth, he grew up and he led. He led. He was the general, army general. He led the army of Devatas and fought Taraka, and the Tarakasura was killed. Last but not the least, in this 24th shloka, Tarasam Asmi Sagara. Tarasam is water bodies, huge water bodies, and I am the ocean. Now we see Shankara Bhāshya, Purodasam, Raja Purohitanam. Therefore, the word Purohita, common in other Indian languages, is acceptable in original Sanskrit also. Purohita is like Rama Shabda, Ramanam, Devanam, Purohitanam. But another less known word is Purodas. The Shashti Ekavachana of Purodas is Purodasam. Like Chandramas Shabda. Chandramaha Chandramasau Chandramasaha. Chandramasam Chandramasau Chandramasaha. The Vibhakti goes. Raja Purohitanam. Among royal priests, I am Brahaspati. Mukhyam Pradhanam Janihi. Know me to be. Know me to be Brahaspati. Why? What is so special about Brahaspati? Sahi Indrasya iti Mukhyasyat Purodaha. He is the head priest for Indra. Indra is way above so many kings and emperors and all those heads of states and so on. Indra is the most exalted state when it comes to ruling over a certain kingdom. Senaninam aham skandaha deva senapati. Deva senapati. And then Sarasam. Here Shankaracharya has something to say. Deva khatanam. Deva khatani saransi desha. Khata means dug. So oceans on the earth are not man-made. But how did oceans come into being? Again, some Puranic story says it is the gods in the heavens for certain purposes They dug up and then water filled those huge holes, huge pits, and those became oceans. So there are stories and stories. At one extreme of orthodoxy, people very much believe everything said in the Puranas. At the other extreme of questioning agnostic people, the stories of Puranas are taken more symbolically, and it's up to you. Doesn't matter where you place yourself. Take gods and all the stories of gods symbolically, if you like, if that gives you peace of mind, or take all of them to be real. Finally, you need to focus on self inquiry, eliminating the ego in yourself. Sarasamasmi Sagaraha. I am the ocean. Now, with this, we go to the 25th verse in this Vibhuti Yoga. One by one Bhagavan Sri Krishna takes numerous categories. Maharshinam Bhraguraham Giramasmekamaksharam Yajnanam Japayajnosmi Stavaranam Himalayah. This shloka is on all four legs, so to say. All the four padas give one vibhuti, one grand, glorious facet of that Supreme Lord. See God in everything. Swami Chinmayananji used to put it so nicely. In the 10th chapter, you see God in every category. In the 11th chapter, you see every category in God. In that Vishwarupa, all these Maharshis and Girahas, sacred words, Yajnas and Stavaras, mountains, Gandharvas and Yakshas and Devas and Asuras and priests and name it. All of them are in God, in the cosmic vision, Vishwarupa. That's 11th chapter, coming immediately after this chapter. So, with his wit and wisdom, Pujya Chinmayananji used to say, in 10th chapter, see God everywhere, and in 11th chapter, see everything in God. Way of putting. No wonder so many people began to enjoy scriptural study thanks to Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananji. Maharshinam Bhraguraham. Bhragu is one of the great Maharshis, Rishis. There are Maharshis, there are Devarshis, Rishis, Rajarshis, so many subdivisions. I am Bhragu. I guess Bhragu is one of the Rishis known in even the Kshetra Purana of Tirupati. Tirupati, Balaji, right? There is some background story of how the most well-known Venkateshwara temple came about in Tirupati, and there all of you would have read. Once this Bhragu goes to Vaikunta, and he had special access. He straight away enters Vaikunta, and he expected some attention from Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu should get up and welcome him and so on. Raghu was so eminent, but some egoism, some arrogance had got into him. And Mahavishnu, who is all knowing, but as a sport, as one of his leelas, deliberately pretends as though he is not aware of Bhragu's arrival. And Bhragu perhaps says, even Vishnu, Narayana, I have come. But Vishnu doesn't pay heed to him. And then, very interesting stories. Raghu had the audacity to lift his foot and kick Mahavishnu in his chest. What a strange, weird story. But look at Mahavishnu's broad-mindedness and his sportive nature, Mahavishnu pretends to wake up from his inattention and says, oh, sorry, I did not notice you had come. Oh, rather than getting angry, how dare you kick me at my chest? Vishnu says to Bhragu, you know what? By kicking me, maybe your foot got hurt. Let me press that foot. And he takes the foot of Bhragu Maharshi and removes certain, it is in popular stories shown as a little eye, which was a special eye present in the foot of Bhragu. He just removes it as a punishment. He pretends to offer a special service to Bhragu, but actually punishes him by his most audacious and unpardonable act of kicking Mahavishnu. He removes the eye, and that eye apparently enabled Bhragu to go to any loka, his feet endowed with that special eye or special feature, made Bhragu capable of going to any loka so quickly, fly in the space and go. And Bhragu shrieks with pain, oh! So even children would enjoy these stories, and adults also can take the message. However eminent you may be a Maharshi, you may be anybody, you may be Indra, but don't be arrogant. Don't you have some moments when you are inattentive, you are distracted? So when somebody is distracted and is inattentive, you must have the patience. You must wait a little. Why suddenly you come and then expect Mahavishnu to come running to you? So Bhragu learns the lesson of his life and it goes. There may be many other stories about Bhragu, but this Bhragu is mentioned, Maharshinam Bhraguraham. I see here another point. Sri Krishna, who is no other than the most well-known incarnation of Mahavishnu, specifically picks up Bhragu of all Maharshis, maybe again with a mischievous thought in him. Of all the Maharshis, I am that Maharshi who kicked me on my chest. Rather than picking up a Maharshi who is known for good behavior, he picks up that Maharshi, Bhragu, who actually behaved in a rather unkind and arrogant manner. So Krishna is Krishna. He is very mischievous. You never predict what he would do. Maharshinam Bhraguraham and Giram. Some of you may wonder, what is this word Giram? Is it something to do with Giri, mountain? No way. Gir, not Gir mountain or Gir forest of Gujarat. There is some lion also, Gir lion, and the Gir is well known in Gujarat. No, this is Gir. Gir is for Sanskritists a word which is a little different. Gihi girau giraha. Gihi girau giraha. Giraha is plural and giram is sixth case plural of the word. What is giram? Giram is vacham, shabdanam, vaninam, of speech, of anything you and I may pronounce, anything you and I may speak. Gih girau giraha, finally, giraha giroho giram is sixth case. Of all possible speech that you and I may come out with, I am that speech, I am that sound that we may utter, which is Omkar. Giram asmi ekam aksharam. Giram asmekam aksharam. If you want to test somebody's proficiency in Gita chanting, ask them to sing this 25th verse. Even some People who have chanted the shlokas very well slightly slip here. Other day I was hearing a audio recording on the internet. Somebody pronounced it Giramasmaikam Aksharam. There is no Asmaika. Asmaika would be some kind of Vriddhi Sandhi. Here there is Yan Sandhi. Yan Sandhi, what is Yan Sandhi? Iti plus api, ityapi. Iti plus ekaha, ityekaha. Like that, Giram Asmi plus ekam, Asmi ekam. There is no Asmaikam. No. So, Giram Asmekam Aksharam. When people ask me once in a while, to be on a panel to select a Sanskrit teacher at a school, etc., I typically ask this, please pronounce this. And if they pronounce it rightly, Giramasmekam Aksharam, make it a note, make a note. This candidate is good. And there are certain other grammatical issues in the Bhagavad Gita which are a little bit of a hard nut to crack. Not everybody would have a grip. I don't claim to know grammar fully 100%, but there are some of these with which I am familiar. Giramasmekam Aksharam. Of all sounds, I am Om. Om is the most excellent speech. Therefore, in Sanatana Dharma, we are advised to recite Om. Om should be recited with feeling, with certain focus. If you say even 3 times in a day, chant Om 3 times with feeling, with involvement, with attention, with focus, with concentration, rather than your mind being somewhere and so on. No. Oh, I need not elaborate. All the scriptures talk about Om, and we have ourselves seen in the 8th chapter, Bhagavan Sri Krishna has said about somebody who is departing, Prayana Kale, someone who is on the deathbed, focuses on the midpoint of his eyebrows, Bhruor Madhye Pranamavekshya Samyak, and so on, and then one meditates on Om. Lord Yama in the Kathopanishad praises Om. To Nachiketa's question, what is that which is above everything? Yama says, Om Ityetat. Om Ityekaksharam Brahma, Vyaharan Mamanuttamam, and so on. 8th chapter. We have seen that. So that Omkara is the best of all speech. Anybody for any reason hesitates to recite Om, all right, one notch below, recite God's names. In Anandashram Kanyangat, where I spent 5 days in late December, the last 5 days of 2024, some of us were there in a wonderful 5-day camp. Whole day, accompanied by Om, but there is Ramanamaja. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Speech. So, our speech, mind you, is a great tool for spiritual rise. You want to rise spiritually? Engage your speech in God-related topics. Manaste padabje nivasatu vacha stotra fanitau, says Shivananda Lahari. May my mind be at your feet, O Shiva, and may my speech, vachaha stotra fanitau, may my speech be more and more engaged in reciting, O Shiva, your names, various hymns. May I recite sometime in the day the Sanskrit shlokas like Brahma Murari Shiva Surarchita Lingam. At some other time, may I recite or sing some bhajan in my own mother tongue, maybe Oriya or Bengali, Tamil or Kannada, even if it is a film song. For some of you who are Kannadigas, that is, the song, film song it is. We had a great matinee idol in Karnataka, Rajkumar. And Rajkumar entered the cinema world long back, I don't know which year, with a movie on a Shiva Bhakta, Hunter Kannappa. And in that there is a bhajan. Shivappa Kayo Tande Muru Lokada Swami Deva. Sing that. If afternoon you are feeling sleepy, you can't chant difficult Sanskrit hymns. Sing a bhajan which can be even from the movies. Oh Shiva, protect me. You are the master of the three worlds. I am somebody who doesn't know anything. I don't know bhakti. I don't know jnana. I don't know anything. I don't know how to worship you. But I love you. I adore you. Shivappa. Shivappa means, oh Father Shiva. Please bless me and so on. So, without going long on it, names or words pointing to God are most powerful. And let me tell you that very faculty of speech, our being able to speak, can be the means to terrible fall. It is a double-edged sword. Giraha, Vani, Vak. Speech is the cause many times for our fall. We use abusive words. We think of vulgar words. Engaging in wrong words, wrong expressions, wrong language, etc., can cause deterioration in our personality, making our mind also impure. But engaging in noble words, right communication, proper expressions, taking special care can lead to spiritual rise. Giram asmi ekamaksharam omkaraha ityartaha yajnanam japayajnosmi. The word yajna brings to our mind, first of all, those fire sacrifices, fire rituals, Vedic fire rituals. You make a setting, homa kunda, and then pour ghee or other prescribed items into fire, reciting some mantras. The flames go high, and thanks to the power of the Veda mantras, devatas in the heavens are pleased, as Sri Krishna himself says in the third chapter, Devan bhavayatanena, te deva bhavayantu vaha. With conducting a yajna, you please the devas, and the devas pleased by your yajna, by the fire ritual, they please you, they bless you with gifts. Parasparam bhavayantaha shreya paramavapsyata. Then he gives a revolutionary meaning to yajna in the third chapter. It doesn't have to be the fire ritual. It can be any cooperative endeavor. It can be any act, could be secular act, but with a offering to God. You do some social service, let us say, but in your heart you say, Lord, I am serving these people who are in need of some help, but it is my offering to you. So Shankaracharya also in those good old days gave the meaning. Yajna means Mahavishnu. One of the names of Mahavishnu, even in the Vishnu Sahasranama, is Yajna. Yajnaha iti Vishnuhu. Yajno vai Vishnuhu is something he quotes in the Bhāshya. We saw it in the third chapter. Anyway, again, getting back to how Yajna typically stands for a fire ritual, Vedic ritual, Sri Krishna revolutionizes that word in another way. Over there it was service, Niswartha, that is Nishkama Karma, was called a Yajna in third chapter. Here, Japa is called a yajna. So our scriptures have at times have a certain quality of being very rigid in things, but at other times look at the flexibility, look at the wider meaning, look at the diversity of interpretations. Yajnanam japayajnosmi. Some of you may wonder, if I take my japamala and I repeat my Ishta mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and turn the beads, where is a yajna going on? Well, even fourth chapter of Gita has dealt with it. There is a yajna going on. After all, what is a yajna? As we said, balls of rice or ghee or some other material is offered in fire. It gets burnt. In Japa Yajna, as you and I sit down, turn the beads of our Japamala and repeat Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It is Japa, but it is Yajna, because every time you recite God's name or the mantra, your mental impurities are offered in the fire of devotion to God. Therefore, it is a great yajna. Offer your impurities, burn them away. In fact, we underestimate the power of japa. We think, I have so much to work and today let me skip my japa. You don't know. When you do japa, mind gets purified. Even if you sit for 10 minutes, typically what happens when we sit for 10 minutes? So many materialistic thoughts arise. But since we are doing japa, even those of us who are not adept in japa, the least we do is we don't pursue those thoughts. They come, they go, they come, they go. We get back to the nama. Get back to the mantra. Right? Those who are advanced in japa might just undo such a thought. We may not be able to really dismiss the thought. The thought hangs around there, but still we don't pursue it. Whereas if we don't do japa at all, we don't sit for upasanas, there's a high chance that some wild materialistic thought comes and we leave everything and go after it. Maybe pleasure seeking, maybe seeking some other egoistic gratification. Here, for those 10 minutes, we, the least we do is we put aside that thought and get back to mantra. That also is, at the least, weakening our materialistic tendencies, weakening the sick ego in us. It becomes weak. And more weak the ego becomes, greater is the expression of our true nature. We must give a chance to our own true self to shine forth. And for that, using japa, we can attenuate, we can make the strength of worldly thoughts less and less. Worldly thoughts have to be put aside. Lastly, it is said by many commentators, Japayajna is especially held high because in Japayajna there is absolutely no violence. In the fire ritual, though you don't have any intention, as the flames rise high, some insects flying in the air can get burnt. The smoke goes and disturbs so many creatures. The smoke, the fire, the heat, they can cause destruction, even death to some creatures without our knowledge. Whereas in japa, it is most ahinsatmaka. Yajnanam japayajnosmi stavaranam Himalaya. Stavara literally means something that doesn't move. Therefore, in Sanskrit, for a mountain, there are many words really, but words like naga and aga mean mountain. Naga means nagachati. A mountain doesn't move places. Aga also is nagachati. Whereas khaga means a bird, kha is akasha. Akasha gacchati, khe gacchati is the khaga. But come back, naga, aga, and so on. Achala have another name for mountain. So stavara means a hill or a mountain. Though some of you know, in the Puranas it is said long ago mountains had wings and they used to fly. And then some, I think Indra or someone comes and cuts the wings of those hills which were causing a menace by going various places and landing, causing damage and so on. And so there are stories. But otherwise, what is Thavara? There's a pair of words elsewhere, Stavara and Jangama. Stavara and Jangama. Jangama is constantly moving and Stavara is stationary. And these two words have many connotations. With my limited knowledge of Veerashaivism or the Lingayata Dharma, which is very popular in Karnataka, I have limited knowledge of it. I have friends who are in that particular community. Stavara and Jangama are strong words, very significant words. Jangama represents a sannyasi who keeps moving. More than physical movement, the sannyasi is not attached to anything. And Stavara represents grahasthas. Though they may be Shiva Bhaktas, they have certain limitations, constraints. They are attached to their house, their family, their wealth, and so on. So there are gross and subtle meanings to Stavara and Jangama. I think somewhere I read a beautiful line that the Stavara dies, but the Jangama doesn't die. So what does it mean? More detached you are, you conquer death. The secret of conquering death is rise above your narrow attachments. The sense of, oh, I am dying, oh my God, why is this happening to me? I am dying. Sometimes we loudly or in our mind cry. No, actually, nothing is happening. You are feeling that you are dying because of your attachment to something. When you are not attached to something, maybe your bank balance, yes, there are some inconvenience no one can deny. If all your savings go up in flames, yes, there is some inconvenience. You know, somebody known to me had made a lot of money and bought a very expensive home in South Bangalore, which is expensive anyhow. I by chance attended the Graha Pravesha some years ago. I knew that person for many years, and I also admired, wow, you bought such a big house in JP Nagar, Bengaluru. All relatives, friends were there. I also went there by chance. I happened to be nearby and they said, Swamiji, please come, bless our new house. And within a year, I got a shocking news. Within a year or two, that person, was into stocks and shares, etc. He messed up something and ran into such debt that he had to sell that very house. Within 2 years, that house costing several crores had to, it had to be sold. Then he had to move into a rented apartment to begin with. Now apparently he has again sort of come up. So at such times, you feel when you have to part with that house, which has so many repercussions. It's not just wealth. When you lose wealth, so many of your relations get jeopardized. So many people who were friends till yesterday become your enemies. And that friend of mine went through all that. He went through hell almost. But spiritually speaking, though it may be difficult for any of us to change overnight, the truth of the matter is, if you are devoted to God, attachment to God will translate into detachment from worldly positions. Even such a dramatic turn of events, like losing a very, very wonderful property which was yours till yesterday, can be taken in your stride. Then you don't cry, I am dying. No, I'm okay. Nothing is happening to me. Therefore, I am tired, never tired of quoting Nisargadatta, whom somebody asked, what is the difference between your world and our world? And Nisargadatta's witty reply, as you find it in that great book, I Am That, is or was, well, in your world, a lot of things happen. In my world, nothing happens. That was his reply. If any of you have not read the pages of that book, please get it somehow and read it. I call that book I Am That. The Conversations with Nisargadatta Maharaj. I call that book a book worth its weight in gold. Stavaranam Himalaya. So of mountains, I am Himalaya. No need to describe or comment upon the beauty, the grandeur, the glory, the charm of Himalayas. The Himalayan mountains, among which Mount Everest is the highest peak, but there are so many. And for members of Sanatana Dharma, Mount Kailash in that Himalayan region is most sacred. Stavaranam Himalaya. Shankaracharya does not comment in much detail on this. He says Maharshinam Braghuham, no explanation. Giram Vacham Padalakshananam Ekamaksharam Omkarahasmi Yajnanam Japayajnahasmi Stavaranam Sthiti Matam. We have explained this. Stavara means which things which stay, they don't move. Whereas things that move would not be called Sthiti Matam, they would be Gati Matam. Sthiti and Gati are two words in contrast. Sthiti is stay put. Gati is move. Sthiti Matam Aham Himalaya, says Sri Krishna. Once more I should say, this is a blend of beautiful spiritual philosophy and very nice literature, very nice poetry. You have that beauty too. We just read the next shloka and leave it at that. Ashvattah sarvavrikshanam devarshīnāṃ ca nāradah gandharvānam chitraratah siddhānam kapilo munihi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So let me check if there are some comments.